And we're starting our Wednesday class, and already July is crazy. Okay, let's start. Let's start in our usual, very familiar for those who are taking this class for a while now, our neutral position. So this neutral position, I spent quite a bit of time to describe it because it's really important. This is going to be your position for most of the exercises we're doing. And if it's not for a specific exercise where we change positions, we always come back to it eventually. So it's important for you to know how to do this. So you come to the very edge of the chair and really to the point that you're like half an inch, quarter of an inch from the edge where your sit bones are rolling past the edge. That's how far you want to be to the edge. Obviously to the point that you can still comfortably stay there and you're not like forcing, staying right at the tip of the edge and having to engage your whole body not to tilt over. So find that spot, but for sure don't go into the middle part of your chair, neither to the back of the chair. You want to have plenty of room between your own back and the back of the chair. And as you bring yourself to the edge of the chair, what happens here is that you have better access to have a natural rolling and rocking of the hips forward, a little tilt that allows your low spine to be freed up from all accumulation of tension that occurs when you're rounding like this all day long when you're sitting. This creates a lot of tightness in your back because you're pulling and stretching in a way that your back is not supposed to do constantly. It is the ability of doing it when needed, when you're leaning forward in certain positions. This is a great stretch to have, but when you're constantly like that, you're weakening the front part of the body, you're closing the breathing capacity because the shoulders roll forward, and you're creating tension and misalignment in the neck that creates neck pain, back pain, etc. So you want to have a rocking, slight rocking of the hips forward, a tilt of the pelvis forward, so that you come into that neutral spine that is about the same curve than when you're standing up, nice and tall. And from there, it's a lot easier to have the shoulders naturally come right on top of the hips. And the head comes right on top of the shoulders, meaning that the ears are aligning with the top of the shoulders instead of the chin poking forward. And now, as you get already in this position, you'll feel a difference between here to rounding. You can try it a couple of times to really see that what I'm saying is not just about reading a script in a book or making it look pretty. It is really about feeling better in your body and having access to a broader range of motion, a broader breathing, etc., which are all pointers towards better health. Then the feet are hip distance apart. And toes are not out, they're not in, because you want to have the knees in the same alignment with the feet and the hips. So hips, knees, and feet are on the same line. No knees out, no knees in. Feet are parallel. Then last but not least, I'm going to open that left leg out so you can see how my shin bone looks. You don't want the shin bone to be in a stiff angle, neither you want it to be in a broad angle out. Here the weight shift to the heel, here the weight shift to the ball of the foot. You want the foot to be right in between where the shin bone is perpendicular in a 90-degree angle with the floor. And that allows to have the maximum surface of support on the foot where you spread the weight evenly across. And that's the foundation of your movement here. So let's go in this position. Let's rest the hands on top of the thigh, relax elbows, shoulders, find your groove here. Allow your sit bones to ground onto the chair, allow your feet to ground into the floor. And close your eyes just for a bit. No, we're not going to go to sleep quite yet, but I want you to go inwards. And when we're having the eyes open, we get stimulated by what you see on the screen, what's going on in the room you're in, little objects here and there that catch your attention, even though you know them probably really, really well. So I want you to go and do that inward witnessing, observing, and catching the body sensations as they rise. And as you go away for a bit from your brain and your head and your mind space, I promise you can take those back at the end of the class. But for the class and the time being, I want you to have a body experience. Which a lot of time we're not having because we're so caught up into our thoughts. So allow yourself to go and dive into the body as you start with the awareness of the breath. And you're noticing how your breath is flowing, how your breath is doing this morning. If it's choppy, if it's hard to breathe, if you're breathing from the upper chest out, instead of low down to the low part of the lungs that involve a movement in your belly. Nothing to completely change right here at this point, but just observing and noticing where your breath is going, how it's expanding, how it's releasing, and what comes along with the sensation of the breath in its expression into the body. Because the breath has a quality, it's made of air, and we might think air is light, doesn't have form, and therefore when I'm still, I'm still. But there's a lot happening when you bring air in, and that increases the pressure into your lungs, it expands your lungs. And because the lungs expand, it starts expanding, rippling out, and expanding and opening up other places around the torso. And when you exhale, you notice that there's a shift happening, that you perceive your body differently, that there's a kind of a shrinking in, going more towards the center line of the body, towards the core. There's less space between the ribs, less space between the front and the back of the body and the sides of the body. Everything comes in. And then you inhale and it expands and broadens out again. Your spine maybe starts lifting a little taller away from the tailbone. If you were to be with a camera in your body, you would see that along the spine, the space between the vertebrae expands and increases as you breathe in. And that space decreases, this kind of a slight compression happening in some parts of the spine as you breathe out. And now you're a heavy weight against gravity. So take just 2 or 3 more breaths here to really embody your breath, to go from place to place, sensation to sensation, to have a good mapping of what we're working with today. And we're gonna open the eyes. And we're gonna start with the hands, bringing the arms forward, and we're gonna rotate the hands and the wrists. So for now, you're just rotating your hands, your elbows are slightly bent, your shoulders are down, you're not bringing the hands too far up, neither far down. You're just bringing them about shoulder height here. You can soften your gaze to the space between your hands and therefore have a vision of the movement of your hands soft. And rotate the hands in. And release the rotation of the hands to go now into the rotation of the elbows. So see here, notice that I'm not opening the arms and moving everything. I'm rotating from the elbows. So the upper arms are staying in position. The left shoulder here is down, and it's just from the elbow out. Anatomically, there's a rotation of the upper arm bone into the shoulder socket because the elbow doesn't have the ability to go into that full range of motion like the shoulder does. But you're stabilizing the elbow at a certain level and you're rotating from elbow out without involving the shoulder into the full rotation, and reverse. Keep your hands relaxed, your fingers relaxed, no tension here. And you're exploring what the widest range of motion you can go in without moving out your upper arms, neither rotating the shoulders. Couple more. Now full arms. You're gonna swing the arms, elbows bent, and back and down. And sometimes we do it in a very precise way where I guide you all the way to what the shoulder is doing. Here I just want to explore kind of a free flow of using your arms. They can even cross. Everything is nice and bent from soft wrists to elbows. You're not tightening out and going like boot camp mode. We're just like fluidly starting, opening and warming up. And make sure all along you're breathing. And we're gonna revert in whichever way reversing looks for you. Maybe you're being led like me by the elbows. Maybe you're focusing more on the shoulders, which would be like this. Maybe you're focusing more in the hands that are guiding the way, whatever way you want to go. And noticing if you're shifting from one focus to the other one and feel how the movement shifts to a different sensation. That's a good exploration to go in. Couple more. And release, hands down. Slide your hands to the top of the knees and we're gonna twist the shoulders forward and back. So now the front of the shoulders are rolling in and forward and you feel the pull and stretch into the upper back and the shoulder blade area. A few more. Back to center and we're gonna swing the arms forward and back. Find that momentum in the arms. If you have arms on your chair, you're gonna have to swing the arms further apart. So for all of you for taking this class, if you have a chair at home that does not have arms, I recommend that you use that chair for our classes so you have better access to the side body without restriction. A few more. And relax and release. So we did just a few movements here and there's a lot happening in the shoulders already. I can feel it myself, so I'm pretty sure that most of you are feeling it. So take a moment here to breathe into whatever you're feeling in your shoulders. Nice deep breath. And we're going to go into side stretches to bring the spine into movement. And we're going to do it a little differently than usual. You're going to use opposite hand catching the outside of the leg. So right hand goes onto the left leg and tilt out to the right. And then switch left hand to the right leg, tilt to the left. And we're going to switch back and forth where the hand is really anchored on the leg and the leg therefore has to be firmly planted and activated, because if not, it does this. You're pulling the knee in and we don't want it. We want to keep the knees hip distance apart and use the legs as a stabilizer and an anchor for your hand to pull on it and stretch the spine from side to side. Another aspect of this movement here is that I'm trying to open the opposite shoulder back a little bit. So I'm not leaning to the right this way, closing in. So you can even, to make sure you're doing this, swing the opposite arm. For example, here I'm holding on the right leg with the left hand and I'm swinging my right hand back a little bit, not all the way back, just a little bit. So the front of the right shoulder is opening back. And then I switch and I do the same with the other side. Few more. Keep on breathing. I can feel that some of you are holding the breath all along, and this is absolutely not conducive of mindful movement. The breath has to be always present to the point that if something has to stop, it is the movement, not the breath. Last two on each side. Back to center, right hand to the outside of the left leg, cross your left arm over and grab the opposite leg. And here we're gonna pull and roll in. Now you're rounding your back, you're dropping your head down. I'm gonna go sideways so you can see what I'm doing. Have a better view here. And I'm pressing into the feet to press and pull back and stretch between the shoulder blades. And then soften back to center. Hands are still crossed over. And you're gonna slide your forearms together so you can grab opposite elbows here. Lift the arms up, stretch up, and round in. Arms to the belly. Inhale, lift up, arch the back. Exhale, round in. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Roll forward. Open the chest. Round back. Arms to the belly. Inhale, arms up and stay. And here you're going to rotate around the ribs, around the chest. You're pressing down in the feet, which can help with the rotation, so you're not just relying on the upper back to create the movement. You can go slower than I'm going, especially if you feel dizzy here. Go really slow and stretch all around. Back to center, releasing your arms forward. Release your hands, so that's how you had them cross, left arm over the left, over the right. Gonna go the opposite way, right arm over the left, or if you were doing already right over the left, you do the opposite way, you uncross and cross the opposite way. Then you land your hands, and again, round in, pull back, open the back body, drop your head down. Breathe in between the shoulder blades. Then rock forward, release your hands, slide your forearms against each other to catch the elbows. Inhale, stretch the arms up, arch the back. Exhale, round in. I'm gonna go sideways here so you can see again from a different angle and perspective. Inhale, lift up, tilt the tailbone back, open the arms back. Stretch into the armpits, exhale, round. Breathe in. There's a little traction here, the hands against the elbows. Exhale, round in. Two more, breathe in and lift. Open across the arms. Obviously, if you're not able to go all the way up to arms close to the ears, it can go here, but you still rocking the hips forward and gently arching the back. Exhale, lower, round in, and last one, you're gonna stay up. Inhale and stay, and we're gonna roll hopefully to the other side of what we did. But if you don't quite remember, try doing the opposite direction of what you're doing right now and see if it feels more awkward. If it does, that means that that's the direction you need to go in because you haven't done it yet. And if you have equal amount of either unfamiliarity or familiarity, meaning that this side rotation feels about the same than the other way to rotate, then just stick with it. It's not a big problem, not knowing which side you did. Again, if you get dizzy, go really slow. Be very mindful that you're stretching all around, 360, all around the upper chest, back, and sides. And back to center, releasing the arms down, uncross, and this time land and relax. Hands on the lap. Take a few breaths here. Feel the sensations in your spine, in your shoulders, along your arms. And breathe. Now let's go onto the feet. We go all the way opposite end of the body. And we're gonna lift the heels up and down. And when you're doing this lift up and down, I want you to really go for it, meaning don't be shy about, okay, I'm lifting my heels like half an inch, quarter of an inch, and I'm doing the exercise. Go and press on the ball of the feet as you press the front of the ankles in front of the feet forward, and then release down. And lift and feel the stretch to the front of the shins and to the back of the leg. And once you find the first few movements that are slow, to just open up those channels, open up that part of the leg and front part of the foot. Then you can go a little faster, and now you're not only stretching, but you're also pumping blood, pumping circulation here from the feet up the legs. And that may feel tiring just after a few, because this is not something you do all day long and it's pretty active. But keep on going, keep on feeling the heat you're building up, that the circulation that is happening, there's a friction, there's action, there's fire. Let's keep on doing it just a few more times. If you're having heavy legs, you have a tendency to have swollen feet, water retention, all this is circulatory issues, and this is a great exercise to help move the lymph and move the blood to release that inflammation. A few more, and release. Yeah, probably you're like, oh my gosh, finally we're releasing. Let's shake it up, bring the hands to the knees, and shake things out. This should feel really good after doing all this active lifting of the heels. And back to center. Now we're gonna lift the toes up. You're rolling onto the heels. So now it's stretching more the back of the leg. And again, don't lift it just a little bit and say, okay, I'm done, I'm relaxing it. Challenge yourself a little bit. Obviously, if there's pain, don't challenge. But without pain, challenge yourself to a little more effort and really lifting to the max here. You can feel underneath your hand that this is activating also in a more subtle way, but still engaging your thigh. A few more. And relax. Stretch your right foot out, anchoring your heel. Go back, you can see my foot. And let's rotate the ankle. And breathe. And keep your left foot really anchored here, because it's easy with the rotation of the heel to have a traction of the foot is moving, and then you lose your position here. So keep your left leg as an anchor. Keep on rotating the right foot. And I don't know if you can notice, but I'm rotating the foot actively and also broad and wide range of motion, and see how my spine is rocking a little bit. My torso is moving, I'm rolling a little bit onto the right sit bone. My left leg is steady and stabilizing, but I'm allowing the rest of the body to have a little traction, a little motion with the rotation of the foot. And reverse. So this gentle rocking is also a way to allow the body to be fully connected. The foot is rotating, but the foot is part of the body. It's connected to the leg is connected to the torso is connected to the hand, head, the torso is also connected to the arm. And so you're allowing your whole body to have the experience of connectedness instead of going here and engaging your core and not moving, which is another way of doing it. We've done it a lot that way, but I want you today to explore allowing your whole body to get engaged in the movement of the ankle. And let's stop the rotation, flex the foot, slide your heel far out, toes towards you. Now you're gonna lean forward, tilt your hips forward, hands on top of the left knee, and breathe here. So here, this is already a stretch. We're not gonna go into forward fold quite yet. I want you to explore rolling the sit bones back as if you wanted to overarch your low back, so that you feel the pull in the back of the right leg as you pull the toes back. And breathe. And now here, I'm going to face you again so you can see it from this place. You're going to bring your right hand forward, and you're going to imagine that you're catching or grabbing a rope that is attached to your big toe. So your hand is right above the big toe, and you're going to lift and lower just an inch. You press down into your left hand, you press down into the left foot, then you lift the foot with that rope and down. And lift and down like a puppet. Lift and down. The right leg has to be really engaged. You feel your core. And down. 2 more. Lift. And look at your foot. You don't need to look at me because you know what we're doing. And kind of get that connection between your right hand, right arm, and the lifting of the foot and leg. And release. Drop your rope. Come back in. Point your right foot down. Press the toes down and grab the toes to the floor. Like press all the toes down to the point that you're looking at your toes and the tip of the toes become white. Because that much pressure that you're putting down into pressing down into the floor. Then relax your toes and slide your right foot in. Realign to your neutral position. Take a couple breaths here, in and out. And let's go to the other side. You're sliding your left foot out. You're anchoring your left heel. And I'm going to go and rotate to this side now so you can see it. There we go. And start rotating the ankle. And again, your right leg now becomes the anchor from which you can push down, press down, and allow the rest of the body to feel loose and to have a little movement. Not that you're thinking, I need to move my torso like she does like this. No, it's because the ankle is rotating and there's a pulling and a flexing of the foot. And that creates this little shaking or this little rocking on top of the sit bones. That's when you go into wide range of motion of the foot and that you're rotating actively, meaning that you're not going slow. You're going a little faster. And roll in, rotate the foot the opposite direction. Keep on rolling. Keep on pressing down into the right foot. Just a few more here. And stop. Flex the foot. Pull the toes back. Bring both hands on top of the right knee as you tilt the hips and pelvis forward. And stretch high here. Tilt the tailbone even further back. Find that back of the leg stretch without leaning forward, without rounding in. You're trying to create space into front of the hip rotating in, tailbone rotating back and up. And flex your left foot really actively, as if you were pushing against a wall throughout the sole of the foot. And breathe. Shift back a little bit. Keep your right hand on top of the right knee and left hand right on top of the left big toe. Grab the rope. And again, we're going to lift and lower. A few inches up and down. Legs and arms are lifting at the same time and the same height, meaning that you're lifting 2 or 3 inches with the foot, 2 or 3 inches with the arm. So ideally, leg and arm are parallel all the time. Keep on breathing. Three more. Feel your core engage. Your left leg might be shaking by now. And last, and land. Release your rope. Relax the foot. Point your foot forward and down. Press down and squeeze your toes down into the ground. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Relax the action of the foot and toes. Slide it back in. Come back to your neutral position. And breathe. Very good. Left hand on top of the left knee. Right hand is going to grab the front of the right knee. And you're going to lift the knee up and down. Grab and lift up. That's more challenging than when we're doing the regular here, clasping the fingers. If you're being too challenged here, if you're not able to do this movement here without feeling either pain or not being able to breathe, then you shift back to clasping your fingers behind your leg and using your full weight of the torso, and you're going up and down as you're pressing into the left foot. But if you're able to calibrate it here, this is a different way to engage your belly. Pull in and down. Pull in, press back with your left foot, pressing down and down. 2 more. Pull in and up and down. And last one, pull in and up and down and stay and breathe. Give a little rocking to the hips forward and back because that resets the belly, the low back. Make sure you're not tensing up here. And let's go to the other side. Right hand on top of the right knee. So again, here you'll have 2 options. If once we start lifting just with one hand, this is not an option for you. You feel extra tense, extra overwhelmed, you're not able to breathe, it's really hard, it's painful, then you clasp your fingers underneath the leg, you press into the right foot, and you pull in and down. It doesn't have to go too far. When you do this movement, whichever way you're doing it, make sure you're using your torso back. I'm going to go here. So here, I'm using my weight not all the way to go back because you're pulling the knee in, but to a spot that you're not pulling forward this way. For those who want to try it with single hand, which requires a different set of muscles here, then you grab the front of the left knee, you press down into right hand, down into the right foot. You're using that right foot and that right hand for the left. That's where the action is coming. And you pull in and down. Pull in and down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, ground. Breathe in and out. Breathe in, push into the right hand and right foot. Breathe out. 2 more. Breathe in and out. And last one. Breathe in, pull up and out and land. Come back to neutral. Give a little rock to the hips forward and back. And come back to center. Open your toes out about 30 degrees, not all the way out like a ballerina in 45, like about 30 degrees. And then bring your heels to align with your feet. So see now, I'm wider than hip distance apart, about 30 degrees out, right? And from here, you're gonna bring your hands together, palms together, fingers together, and you're gonna trace up, and imagine you're chopping wood, you're coming forward and down, and lift up, and chop down, lift up. And here I'm using my legs, I'm using my feet to create fluid movement and momentum in my torso. I'm gonna go sideways again so you can see how it works on my back here. Stretching up and down. And the going up goes a little slower than chopping down. Breathe in, breathe out. Pressing from your strong legs up. 2 more. Come up, stretch up. Bring your fingers, interlace your fingers. Rotate your palms up and stretch tall. Arms to the side of the ears. Deep, long breath here. And release, arms out and down. Rest on your legs. Keep your legs in position here. Deep inhale, long exhale. And we're gonna go forward and try to anchor, bring the elbows on top of the thigh to the top of the knees. If this is not working for you, you bring your hands rotating in and elbows out, and you find the right height here. But ideally, try to come all the way forward here. And that creates a foundational balance because you have the upper forearms and elbows anchored on the knees. The bones here are straight, so they're not going to bend and put you into an awkward position. And from here, try to relax the belly and the chest. And we're going to look over the right shoulder, across the floor to the left. Here, don't look up to the screen. Don't try to rotate from here. It's not going to feel good. So you tilt your head forward, lengthen the spine. You don't drop it all the way down. Your face is parallel to the floor, and then you're going to look over the right shoulder as if you were someone was calling you from behind, and you're looking over the shoulder to look at them, and then back to center and to the left. Back to parallel to the right. To the left. If you're higher here, your head is not parallel to the floor. You keep the alignment of the neck nice and long with the ears on top of the shoulder, and you look over one shoulder and the other shoulder, but relax the belly forward. Don't round in. Chest forward. A few more. Back to center, drop your chin down. Keep your back nice and long. Keep your elbows onto your knees, or keep your hands on your knees and elbows out. And drop the head down. Feel the pull and stretch through the back of the spine, through the sides of the spine down to the mid-back. And push and press back up. Toes in, heels in. And come back to your neutral position here. Gonna do the same move that we did on Monday, that I had some great feedback from Karen for it. That is a shoulder stretch. And we're doing it again today because it felt great on Monday, and because that was a new move, so that we don't forget about the move and we keep it in our toolbox. This is a move that you can do on your own also. When your shoulders are tight, especially right underneath the shoulder blade. This is a move that helps you really get into the back of the shoulder, like right behind the flop of the shoulder. Left hand on top of the left leg, you slide it in a little closer towards your hip. You're gonna see why, because you're gonna bring your right hand, the outside of the hand to the outside of the leg. And so you need some space here. If your left hand was further forward, you would be limited by your left arm. But the hand close to the upper thigh is going to help you leverage also when you go up and down. We're going to go several times on one side before we switch. So get into the movement that you go progressively sliding your hand and upper forearm down and up. So at first it might be a couple of inches, especially if your right shoulder is tight. There's a twist here happening. But as you progress, you might be able to go a little lower on your forearm, sliding along the side of the leg and down towards your left outer ankle. And you're using your left hand, especially to push yourself back up. Press into the left foot and left hand to slide that arm along the leg and lift the torso back up. And progressively, you might be able to go even deeper down. Don't force it. Inhale as you press up. Exhale as you slide and cross and twist. Inhale, exhale. Pressing into your feet and legs, pressing into the left hand. And last one, go to your edge. Stay a little bit here. Press the arm against the leg, leg against the arm. And slide back up. Come back to neutral. Shake your shoulders a little bit forward and back or up and down to reset. And let's go for the other side. Right hand on top of the right leg. Slide it back towards the front of the hip like the upper thigh. And bring your left hand, the back of the hand, to the outside of the right leg. Now we're going to inhale here. Exhale, start sliding a few inches down. See how it feels on the left shoulder. Inhale, come up. Exhale, slide. Inhale, push up. And exhale down. Breathe in. And out. No need to look at me. You can look down to that left hand so you keep your neck in alignment with your spine. And you progress into the twist and the stretch as your body allows. You're not forcing it. It's not about how deep you're going. It's how much space can be opened up for you to naturally slide a little deeper just because you have the access to do it, not because you have an agenda about it. Right leg has to be firmly anchored because it's easy here to drop the knee in, but you want the knee to stay in position right on top of the ankle and you're sliding a little deeper, inhaling as you're coming up, exhaling as you're going down, using your right hand to push you up. Couple more. And last one, we can stay a little bit in the stretch here. You're pressing the arm against the leg against the arm, the right shoulder is rolling back a little bit. And press into the right foot, press into the right hand, slide back up. Release back to center, give a little rock to the hips, a little rounding and arching to the back. Back to center, lift and drop the shoulders a few times. And relax. Take a moment here, pause and breathe. Even close your eyes and really tap into how your body and your breath are feeling. Opening your eyes, let's reach back to the back of the chair or to the arms of the chair. I'm repositioning myself onto my seat and you're welcome to do so to make sure you're back into that neutral position. So hands to the back of the chair. I'm going to go sideways so you can see me from this angle right at the edge. Hands back. And from here already, you feel that the shoulders go into a different position than here, right? For really tight shoulders, the position is going to be here, like the shoulders are going to rotate in. And I want you to bend the elbows and roll the shoulders back as you poke the center of the chest forward. And we're going to do this a few times, just doing this tiny movement with the elbows bent, not to the side. They're pulling in together. And I'm moving the center of the chest forward and back to neutral. And then we poke that chest forward, we stay here, and we stretch forward. We roll the hips forward. Now there's an arching in the back. And from here, the front of the shoulders are rolling back a little more, and you feel an intense stretch. The shoulder blades are reaching in. You press down into the feet and try to slide and lift the low ribs, this space here, up and away from the floor. And now you feel a belly stretch. Your head naturally is tilting just a tiny bit back as you're gazing up to the ceiling. And now we're going to take 3 to 5 deep breaths to expand the rib cage, expand the stretch in this position. And when you exhale, the breath softens. You soften into the shoulders. The shoulder blades reach in a little deeper. Inhale, you inflate your chest. You feel the expansion through the belly. You might feel a lift of the shoulders a little bit. Collarbone of lifting away, and exhale, soften into the shoulder blade space. One more, breathe in. And out. Bending the elbows as you bring your chest back in. Keep your left hand here. You're going to bring your right hand to the outside of the left leg. Inhale here. Exhale, twist. So I'm bending my back elbow towards the back of the chair to twist and open the chest. If you're pretty open here, see my elbow is touching the back of the chair. And I have a chair that has a little hook here. So you can bring it over and bind and stretch here. Lift up. And breathe. Then soften if you have the bind to grabbing to the side. And last here, if you have a little more space, you're really open today, you can switch your left hand to the outside, to the right side of the chair. Instead of where we're on the left side, you bring it across and pull back just a little bit more into the opening of the left shoulder. And breathe. Soften everything. Come back to left hand to the chair. Right arm goes around. Grab both sides. Lift and roll the shoulders back. Check in, back to center. And let's go to the other side. Left hand goes across to the outside of the right leg. Right hand stays on the chair, grabbing the chair. You bend the elbow and twist to the right. Make sure the elbow is not dropping in here. You keep it up and you pull in. Make sure the elbow is not rolling forward as well as the shoulder. You're rolling the shoulder back. Sit tall. Press with your left hand to the outside of the right leg. Make sure your right leg is not dropping in. Then here again, if you're pretty close to the back of the chair, you can wrap your arm here and pull back a little bit more. Those are all options to play with. They're absolutely not mandatory. And then again, if your shoulders are very much open today, you can release here. And from here, you go there and you grab the other side of the back of the chair, which stretch the right shoulder blade and the right front shoulder a little deeper. And softly release right hand back to the chair, to the right side. Swing your left arm across, both hands stretch and pull. Shoulder blades back, front of the shoulders opening up, chest forward. And soften back to neutral. Hands to the legs, round your back. Drop the chin in. Back to center. We're gonna go into spinal waves to soften everything from those deep twists and active stretches. Hands to the top of the knees. You're gonna tug the chin in, round in, come forward, and then extend out, arch, and lift back up. Inhale. Exhale, roll in, come forward. Breathe in as you extend out and up. Breathe out as you round in and down. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one, breathe in. And stay. Release your hands on top of your thigh. Take a couple breaths here, closing your eyes. Feel the body. And opening the eyes, we're going to go into the last side stretch. Left hand to the chair. Going to open right foot. So opening toes first, heels, toes, heels, toes, heel. Turn your toes in, stretch the right leg, press down into the outer edge, roll your right hip forward. So your right sit bone is not on the chair anymore. You're rotating that right leg in, your left leg is active. Right arm up and stretch out. You're leaning to the left, but not all the way down. You're using your left hand for support, and more than anything else, you're pulling away. From right hand is pulling away from the right foot. And breathe. One more breath. Keep that right leg really active. See, my knee is not bent. I'm not bending in like this. I'm pressing to the outer edge of the right foot. I'm lifting the inner arch of the foot. And I'm stretching away, wanting to grab something in the opposite direction with the right hand. And release back in, heel in, toes in, heels in, back to parallel, back to your neutral position. Watch down and make sure that's what's happening here, that one foot hasn't lost it. And let's go to the other side. Toes out, heel out, toes out, heel out. Find your edge, kick the heel out, turn your toes in, which creates an inner rotation of the left leg. Now your left sit bone is not firmly rooted, but your right sit bone is grounded. The right leg is super active here, because if not, this is what happens if I'm just deactivating. Press into the outer edge of the left foot, stretching the knee away from the floor, so your left leg is very much engaged and active. And then swing your left arm up and lengthen out. You're pressing down here, or better, you move your right hand behind onto the chair, or on the arm of the chair, you can bring your forearm here and push and press down into the forearm and stretch away into the left arm. And breathe. Deep, long breath, reach across. Keep the left leg nice and long. Pull your low belly in a little bit and find an extra pull to the inner hip. One more breath here, or two if it feels really good. And then soften that left arm, bring the torso back to center, heels in, Toes in, heels in, back to neutral position, and we're ready to unwind, to wrap up and finish the class today. Hands resting on your lap. Make sure everything is back into place. Maybe you give a little shaking to the hips, a little tweaking to the shoulders, a little shake off everything out, and find your seat. Close your eyes, find your neutral position, back to where we started. Take a moment here to tap into your own body and feel everything. Don't push away anything. That means that if you have reminders of little aches and pains here and there, just watch them, honor them, make friends, be loving and kind with your own aches instead of either pushing them away or judging them or being mad at them. Just relax in your own body, acknowledging how much the body is doing for you every day, 24 hours a day. Even when you're asleep, a lot is going on. It's not completely shut down. And it's been doing that for years and years and years. And as you're still alive, that means it's doing a great job at keeping you alive and functional. So coming back into that space where the body is being honored, acknowledged, and loved for what it is really, really important. It's a big part of being mindful. You cannot be mindful just from the head space. If that was what we're supposed to do, we wouldn't have a body. We would just be rolling heads. So come down into what has been preciously and sacredly given to you, your body. Feel your arms. Feel your legs. Feel your torso. Feel everything from the surface of the skin to the different layers of tissue and muscles and joints and tendons, organs. And feel all those parts of yourself being one and working together as an organism. An organism that keeps on thriving and evolving and shifting and repairing itself. The body is masterful, is magical. And again, we take it for granted and we're mad at it when there's aches and pains happening, when we're limited in what we're able to do, comparing ourselves to years ago. But allow you to be present with what it is right here and right now. After moving and stretching and breathing, as we did for an hour, you might have a different perspective, a different understanding of your body functionality and dynamics. You might have discovered something about yourself today that you thought you wouldn't be able to do, and you actually did. So be thankful, grateful, proud of yourself for showing up in class every week, for those who are coming 3 times a week, for showing up today for those who are new. And we're going to finish this class today with a body hug. So I want you to cross your arms across the front of the body, grab whether it's at the shoulders, the forearm, the torso, wherever, and we're going to gently rock as we're hugging our body, kind of cuddling the body as if we were cuddling a kid. And breathe into that gentle cuddle, rocking hug. Okay. back to center and squeeze yourself really tight. Squeeze from the feet, the legs, the arms against your torso, your face. Squeeze it all. And relax. Release your arms down, hands on your thigh. Rub your palms together. Create some energy, some heat. Not that we need more heat, but a different kind of heat in your hands so that you can bring them over your eyes. Stay here for a bit. Relax into the eye space. Take a few more breaths. Feel the kind, loving, and soft touch of your hands over your face. And see if you can open your eyes already behind your palms. Your palms are kind of cupping the eyes so that you have some space here. And you're probably able to see through just a little bit of light and little cracks between your hands. And then slowly release your hands and allow the light to come in a little stronger, broader, wider. And that's where we end our class today. I'm going to come back to you and see if you have questions for me, if you have anything to share and comment. I'm going to first stop the recording. Thank you for taking class today.